So they were relying heavily on protein bars and shakes, just to get in all their meals and all their protein. And so I wanted to create something that was still as quick and convenient as protein bars and shakes, but was made up of real food.
Hello, love. My name is Kelly, and I am a registered dietitian and personal trainer. I'm here to give you my unfiltered approach to food, fitness, and functional medicine so that you can find what works for you. We are all unique butterflies with not one, but four energetic bodies: the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So just know that whatever I am sharing, I am never here to shame you, especially if you are like me and you love a glass of red wine and a sweet treat now and then, but solely to empower you to be your most confident and vibrant self. So I am so grateful you're here today. Let's get into the episode. Good. All right, so I have Megan here with Batch Balanced, and we are going to chat a little bit about meal prep, protein needs, just health as a busy mom and business owner. So Megan and I have chatted a little bit about kind of what got her into her business, having her own health struggles. So tell us a little bit, Megan, about what got you started with Batch Balanced.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Kelly, for having me on. Okay, so it's kind of a long story, but essentially, um, many years ago in my early 20s, and I'm now in my mid 30s, I started having some autoimmune issues. And so that kind of started my journey more so with food. I have a degree in health promotion and like have always been very interested in
Mhm.
health and wellness. But yeah, so kind of was going down, getting a diagnosis for an autoimmune disease, lupus, and just really wanted to try and go more the holistic route. And so one of the things that I kind of stumbled upon was just how to fuel my body, so that it was not causing inflammation. The food that I was eating was not causing inflammation. So way back when is when I kind of started trying to really clean out what I'm eating. And then fast forward several years later, I was doing nutrition consulting, and I had a ton of clients that were wanting to really, they just wanted something quick and convenient to get in all of their meals and the protein that they needed. And so they were relying heavily on protein bars and shakes, just to get in all their meals and all their protein. And so I wanted to create something that was still as quick and convenient as protein bars and shakes, but was made up of real food. And so I developed, and never in a million years would I thought I would have started a business out of it, but I developed a high protein muffin, that was Greek yogurt and egg whites are the main source of protein and the main ingredients. And then we use almond flour and oat flour so that they're gluten free. And so really like started it, and it kind of just became something that I needed for myself. I had become a mom for the first time. So this was over 8 years ago. And yeah, so just something that was going to be quick and convenient for my family and myself on the go. And I just like love the muffins. I wrote down what I wanted the macronutrients to look like, and that's how I backed into this recipe. And it's been the same ever since, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really fulfilled the need. My needs of needing something quick and convenient on the go, but was really more wholesome ingredients, and something that I could feed my kids too. So yeah, so that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah, that's awesome. And they taste so good. I've recently tried the lemon, the turkey, chocolate. Also good. Yeah,
What's your favorite?
I really like the savory,
Yeah,
especially for breakfast, because that's how
yeah,
I've been wanting to use them is as my breakfast, and I'm a savory breakfast person.
yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna still keep doing the sweet ones too for more of a dessert. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, I will be linking like your website and stuff and my code, because people can order them from wherever. So I've been recommending them for everyone. But yeah, that's so cool. I didn't know that you did nutrition like consulting too. And so you've seen that side of things and how just
Yep.
hard it is to make lifestyle changes. It seems simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I was doing it, it's just so overwhelming for people, and especially the demographic I was working with was moms, and they had families and kids at home, and a lot of them their kids were a little bit older. And so they had already like set this foundation with what their family was used to eating and what their kids were used to eating. And so they wanted to make changes, and the rest of their family was still like unwilling to, they didn't want to make changes. Right. And so these women that I was working with, it seemed like they were just like doing it on their own, really, and they were almost like, there was like this tension between what everyone else in their household was doing and what they were doing. And so it kind of felt a little bit more, like they were secluded from what the rest of their family was eating. But I think my favorite part about it was little by little, you'd start to see them, convert their husbands to doing, the way of eating, or you would see, some of their kids get more interested, or they would find alternatives of things that they were buying for their kids that were not healthy, and, finding those healthier alternatives and like converting their kids over to that. And so many people want to like start, this journey, and they think, okay, I'm just going to like wipe the slate clean and we're just going to start into it. And it's like, no, there's real life challenges with that. And yeah. And so, and I'm sure that those people still face this, this challenge today, even years ago when I was working with them. And it's just like this constant, this constant struggle of trying to make things work. But yeah, so with these muffins, it was like just such an easy thing. It's like, okay, if I can at least prep these and I have this, I know that my breakfast is going to be, on. And, hopefully the rest of the day will kind of follow suit. But yeah, I loved working with people.
Yeah, and that I've seen that working at Be Well with appointments with kids, that sometimes it's not just giving the information of here's the macros, here's how to eat fiber, but getting them to do it can be a whole different thing. So it is just like so smart to incorporate that. And that's what I also try to really provide people, is just here's how to adjust recipes you're already doing to make them better. It might not be perfect, but it's better.
Yeah.
To get that protein in. And we could definitely dive into the science of like why we need protein, why gluten-free can help people with autoimmune, and we won't do that today. But we know that I know a lot of people do need to be gluten-free. And so I am just curious of like, did you work with a dietitian back when you were having autoimmune struggles, or was it very like just kind of you doing your own research, which was my own experience as well when I was that age, because it's like that is when a lot of health problems start popping up for women. We have all these hormone changes. Colleges and high school are just like a stressful time. So
yeah. So I mean, it was really just like all self-taught and researched. And honestly, like there was something in me that was like wanting to find a different solution, because I mean, if I left it up to what was being recommended at, University of Iowa, they would have started me on steroids for the rest of my life to treat an autoimmune disease that I've been able to kind of manage myself. And not to say at all that that's what everyone can do, but
yes,
and that was with several other.
So important for me to have other people share that they also have that intuitive feeling and they follow it and see results, because I think a lot of people are just so scared to not trust a doctor and to get more opinions and to try things. And so it's like we have to share those stories when it actually like turns out well and you learn about your body and our options.
Well, and honestly, so I'm a mom of 4, and I know you have a lot of women listeners, and to me, it's just like I listen to myself a lot. Just, that story with my autoimmune issues, all the way to like giving birth, like trusting that your body is made to do these big things. And yeah, I mean, like I jumped ship from my OBs with my 3rd, and I had a home birth with my last 2. I mean, on my due date, I switched from a hospital birth to a home birth, just because I was like, this is what I'm being drawn to do right now. And it's changed me. And I feel like trusting your instinct on those things is huge. So if something ever does feel off, it's like, there's this inner voice that you need to listen to.
Yes. Yes, I do believe women have that, like even more than men at times of like just that intuition.
Hmm.
And yeah, we could go all into the hormonal reasons why, but we gotta listen to it. Hello, love. I am so freaking excited to be offering a membership. So, this is where you can learn all the tools for creating the lifestyle you desire, plus gain access to functional medicine at an affordable cost. So, I created exactly what I wish I had 5 years ago when my body was screaming for help. So, not only will you learn self-healing protocols and really understand the root causes to hormonal imbalances so you can reverse them in whatever era of life you are in, but I will share about testing and products that I find most important. I will also be there for one-on-one guidance if you would like access to that long-term clinical monitoring piece through blood work and appointments. And also, if you are just rocking it on your own, you'll be able to find an amazing community of other strong women also in their healing eras. So, again, learn more about this on my website. This is the most affordable way to connect with me and work with me, and I would love to see you there. So I just want to take a moment to chat about full script. I have so many questions on Instagram about what supplements to be taking, what supplements are good. So I created two specific protocols in full script for you guys to check out. So the first one is the Women's Health Foundations. If you just want to make sure you're covering all of your bases with micronutrients, fiber, and protein. The next one is my metabolic health support protocol. This one is a little more targeted to those who are suffering from specific hormonal imbalance symptoms, like those found in PCOS, endometriosis, thyroid dysfunction. So, really, if you're having period problems, fatigue, trying to lose weight, then the metabolic health protocol might be right for you. You can read a little more about them and more in depth details in full script. So, go ahead and create your account through my Instagram bio link and you will get the 10% discount on any products you choose to try. If you are an Unfiltered Nourishment member, you do get 30% off all full script products. And so this honestly could really cover your monthly membership costs. Plus then you are getting access to my course and so much other support. So definitely check it out and let's get back to the episode. Okay, so let's dive into a little bit of like meal prep. So when I'm looking at meal prep and meal planning with people, meal prep, I'm thinking like, okay, how are you going to have the meals ready for you? Whether it's cooked or just the ingredients ready. Meal planning is more of like, what are you going to eat? How much are you going to eat? That's where like the macros can come in. So how did you said you kind of got into meal prepping when you started having kids. Did you do it before that? Or
Um, to a degree, and yeah, to a degree, I did. Um, but not like I do now. Yeah, I mean, like as a family now, I mean, we are always like batch cooking. So, and I shop, I'd say 95% of my shopping is at Costco, which it's like, and I go almost every week because, I'll buy the entire thing of organic chicken breasts. And like we just did this last night, we cooked all of it because then we have protein in the fridge for lunches. Or, I mean, my husband travels all the time for work. And so a lot of times it's like, quick. But the way I kind of prep is I always just like, I have my complex carbs kind of prepped in the fridge and ready, and I have my proteins in the fridge and ready. Fats are really easy for me to figure out. And then I obviously always have, greens or veggies or, any of those things to fill in. But a lot of times, like, I'm really big on doing bowls. So a lot of times I'm like, okay, I'm going to chop up some chicken, get some brown rice, throw in some cucumber and red peppers and like throw a good sauce on top. And so
so you go
that's
more ingredient prep route and don't
yeah.
little containers, which for most people, I think that that's best too. And I don't think we even said that you have 4 kiddos. So it's like you do need a big quantity of food every week. And I think a lot of people do best with going shopping like once a week. So you can have fresh stuff on hand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it works for us. And yeah, I always have to have those options because otherwise, yesterday, so I'm at home with my girls 2 of the days of the week. And yesterday was one of those days that I was home with them, and we did our Costco shopping. I took all 4 of them with me, and I'm like, I shop just the perimeter of Costco, like never go in the middle because it's like there's nothing that I need in there. And so I really just, I shop the perimeter, and we can get in and out pretty quickly. But yeah, by the time I got like all my groceries unloaded, all the things, it's like 2 o'clock, and I hadn't even eaten lunch. And so a lot of times it's like you get so busy that you just don't even have time to eat because I'm putting the baby down for a nap and our 3-year-old down for a nap. And yeah, and so a lot of times it's like, okay, I plan on that, but my muffins are always in the fridge as like a quick, okay, I'm
Yeah.
hungry, my blood sugar is dropping. I
Yeah.
do not have time to actually eat yet, so I'm going to eat like a muffin, and then it'll get me through until I can like sit down and eat.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I'm such a big like fan of a big breakfast if we can, but I see, a lot of people do struggle with they have to get up really early for work, so they're not hungry. So it's finding like how can we maybe eat that a little bit later or do at least like a shake or something, but when we can get like a good solid 30 to 50 grams of protein, which seems like so much for some people, but we can do it.
Yeah.
And at least when we get busy in the afternoon, we don't have to eat a larger meal then. We could skimp and then do like a dinner. So yeah, it's just figuring out what works. Have you ever gone through like tracking your macros, or do you mostly just eat more intuitively and know like you're trying to aim for balance?
So I am much more of an intuitive.
Me too.
Years ago, I may have like for a short stint, but it was really for me, I think it was more so of like, it was the education piece of like learning what 50 grams of protein looks like. Um, and just kind of like figuring all that out. And really since then I'm just like, no, I really listen to my hunger cues. You know, you can tell if my blood sugar is dropping because it's like, okay, watch out. Like I need to eat. So yeah, so no, it's definitely more intuitive for me. But I'm very aware of like if I make a bowl, I'm very aware of like what those macros probably are.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that that's like the goal for me, for everyone I work with, is just to be able to have that knowledge and being able to like sense, okay, this meal was higher in good fats and protein, and wow, I felt energized for 5 hours,
Yeah.
compared to eating more carbs or whatever it might be. Did you like, how do you feel like you were eating back in like your 20s before you started learning? Was there like, were you more vegetarian? Were you eating a lot of sugar, or like just standard American
Um,
foods really?
no. Yeah, no. I mean, I was kind of just eating like I don't know that I would say like normal. I've always kind of had like the healthy lens. Um, but definitely just like eating a lot more pasta and yes, more sugar.
Mhm.
Um, obviously I was drinking, I mean, not obviously, but I was drinking a lot more, in my early 20s when we, were able to go out and do things a lot more. Um, and I think that's like probably another piece that I've just like almost completely cut out of my life is drinking just because it does not make me feel good, you know? And so I think those things really go hand in hand. It's like if you're in your early 20s and you're drinking, you're doing all these things, and then like that late night pizza is appealing, when you get home from going out. And so it
Mhm.
was just a lot more of that stuff where now it just feels like our lifestyle is a
Mhm.
lot more structured, and it's just easier to really focus on cleaner ingredients. We used to go out all the time too, like out to eat, we'd grab takeout, and that's pretty few and far between just because it's like it's not, nothing is ever really that healthy
Yeah,
when
you
you're eating out.
what's in it and the oil.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I think, more recently in the last several years, I'd say, I'm much more aware of like how the oils are affecting me when I do go out to eat. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just so different. And so, yeah, it's just that's kind of been a driving, reason why it's easier to just eat at home and prep and just like you said, like feel good and feel energized, because those other things are going to take your energy. They're going to weigh you down. They're going to lead to making different food choices at your next meal. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of a spiral.
Yeah. Yeah. And for any college girlies that might listen to this, it's like you don't have to cut everything out, but even just making some changes can really help of like eating protein, don't skip meals. Like you don't have to never go out and stay up late. But yeah, I just like looked at a photo of myself from 4 years ago. So I would have been 21. And like my face was so inflamed, and people would have been like, oh, she was thin, she was healthy, but like I look so different now from just eating so much cleaner. And it's like I still do drink alcohol. I don't have kids, but it's like I haven't cut everything, but just making those like macros just really do make a difference to stabilize those inflammation levels, get more protein and amino acids, vitamins from, I'm just such a big fan of animal-based protein. Because I
Yeah.
was so plant-based and it just like I was still super inflamed. And yeah, but anyways,
Well, and I think too, like the big thing, especially like I'm not saying like don't drink. I'm just saying that's the journey I'm on of,
mhm.
15 plus years of, yeah, of doing this. And I'd say like the big thing is just like I'm really big on blood sugar stabilization. And so it's like if you are out drinking, yeah, like you're out drinking, that's going to keep spiking your blood sugar. Like throw in some protein if you can as you're
Mhm.
out and indulging.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I love to have the muffins, batch balance muffins as a breakfast. Did you intend for them to be like a breakfast, a dessert? Tell me about that.
So when I first developed them, I did the banana. So like that, the banana bread was, and actually they were like a chocolate banana. That was the original recipe. And really I was designing them more so like between meal, like grab and go type things, or, like if I was taking the kids out for the morning, that was like our thing. But then as it kind of evolved, I kept like adding different flavors based off of like what I wanted them for, right? And so those savory ones were really like designed for that breakfast. Um, and then it kind of evolved too, where I was grabbing our savory ones, because our savory ones have 20 to 24 grams of protein and only 5 net carbs for 2 full-size muffins. And so I was grabbing those savory ones and eating them like as my protein and fat for lunch, and pairing it with, roasted veggies on the side, really like bulking it up. Or when my husband was traveling, it's like, okay, that's such an easy way for me to like get my protein and fat in with whatever meal I'm doing. Um, so, kind of just evolved that way. But then as I, was having a sweet tooth at night or something, I started developing like the chocolate, the pumpkin, like all these different things that were more so like satisfying different needs that I needed. And so like still to this day, like my favorite go-to like dessert is our double chocolate. And I always put dark chocolate chips when baking. So then I'll warm them up in our air fryer and the chocolate will get like really melty. And our muffins are like, they're pretty moist. And so once they're warmed up, and then I put a little bit of like coconut whip topping on it, and fresh strawberries, pistachios, like it's like a molten cake, like a molten lava cake. Like it is just so good. And I've been eating these muffins for 8 years, and I'm still like, oh my gosh, this is such a treat at night. But it's really just like I was trying to fulfill like the needs that I needed throughout the day, and that's kind of how different flavors kind of came about.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to try that chocolate one because I am such a dark chocolate fan. I
Oh
always seem
yeah.
to have it on hand.
Yeah, you'll have to try
Oh,
those ones.
like that's another really great point is like when you do feel good from your food, you don't necessarily get tired of eating the same things. Like people will be like, "Oh, you eat the same things all the time," and I'm like, "Well, so do you. We all do. We eat the same things over and over again. Like it's pretty rare for people to like really adapt a whole new recipe." So, yeah, finding those staples is so important. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I do get asked that a lot. Like, yeah, you don't get sick of them. And it's like, well, we have like 9 or 10 different flavors. We have some seasonal ones that we rotate. And just the way that I pair them, like it's really they're super versatile. So you can add different toppings to them as when you're baking them, or you can serve them like completely different. And so, my other like go-to right now, because lemon is in season, you said you tried that one. It's like I'll do a bowl of Greek yogurt, put the lemon on top, and then do some fresh berries, and it's like it's a whole different meal to me than like having the chocolate peanut butter at a midnight or a midday snack. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I
And I
don't ever
love
get
or
yeah.
like savory with sweet stuff. Like I love to do like jams with like a meat. Like it sounds weird, but
Oh
like
yeah.
or like yeah. So I'm a big sweet person, but I have just like adapted to eating more meat. Like I used to just not like it, but you do adapt and start to crave different tastes when you have them more often.
Yeah.
Um,
No, and we're definitely a family. Like we're big meat eaters. And so I tend to use the muffins like pretty much for all of our breakfasts. It's always almost muffins because it's just a rush in the morning. But all of our other meals, like we're pretty mindful of like having, a good protein, and then I really just like use the muffins more as like fillers as I need them. Or like just when I do need that quick. But yeah, it's key to just have
yeah.
options available at all times.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like for me too, like having a non-meat source of protein every day is helpful because it's like for me, it gets expensive buying so much meat. Like I use collagen or like I'm gonna really start using these more. And like I don't do a ton of dairy, but a little bit of Greek yogurt can help. And yeah, having different options so you don't get sick of meat. Um, okay, so obviously you're busy owning a business, 4 kiddos. Besides food, like what are your go-to healthy habits, rituals, routines that really help you that you would
Oh, well, you're catching me like at the tail end of summer. I'm like
I
I'm
know.
not ready for my kids to go back to school yet, but I'm like craving a little bit more routine. Um, but I mean, exercise is just like such a big part of my life. I actually started teaching group fitness back in 2009, like right out of college, and have always loved it. I took like a probably 4-year break from like 2020 to just recently, and just started back up teaching a rowing class at a row studio here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss like it just I love working out. Like I miss teaching, I miss
taking a break.
connecting with the people. But I'd say, and I used to teach yoga and run yoga studios. So like that's always been so ingrained in me, and it's really like I love it. Like I'm planning on going to a hot yoga class right after this, and I'm like, I can't wait.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been taking a break from teaching yoga too. I kind of miss it, but I feel like I'm still getting that coaching fix. Okay, so what would be your like biggest challenges, do you feel like, with maintaining healthy habits? If
Um, Gosh, I mean, honestly, I'd say for me, like our nutrition at this point is like super dialed in. Like that's it really like that's not much of a challenge for me. It is just like getting the movement in that I need during the times that I need it. So I would even say like as early as 3 years ago, I felt like I was probably like doing too much. With like all the cardio and things that I was doing. And I don't know if you've like done any research on this, but certain movements during certain parts of your cycle. So like really tracking your cycle. And so for me, it's just like really honing in on what I need to be doing at different parts of my cycle in terms of, just like really easing into things during certain parts of the month, or like really taking advantage and yep, and
yeah,
hitting it
that's
hard.
a big part of my journey too. Of just I was an athlete, so there was no rest.
Right. Yeah. No, and I've definitely like over the last couple of years, and I've had to like it's my life has made me slow down quite a bit. And so I used to have the mentality of working out every single day, sometimes 2 days, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? Like I feel like I'm a much healthier person, like giving myself those breaks. And yeah, it's so still, I guess to answer your question, it's like finding the schedule of like what I need to be doing at certain times of the month and really being able to fit it in. Because right now during summer, it's like I think I'm getting 1 to 2 workouts in a week, which is fine. I'm not beating myself up, but I just mentally feel better when I can move my body. So
It's like you got to do it so that you are able to show up as your best. And it's like a non-negotiable of like, yeah. But yeah, that's awesome that you have been in tune with your body. Love that. Okay. So to end, just a couple fun questions. Are there any like favorite brands you have been loving recently for food, supplements, anything like that? Not promoting that.
oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. Um, I mean, like those chomps beef sticks right
I
now.
love those too. They're
Yes, those are, I mean, especially in the summer when we're like constantly on the go. I just keep those in my purse at all times, and my kids love them. Um, I mean, Siete right now like has my heart, the Siete brand, like anything. I feel like all their stuff is so great. Oh, what else do I love? I don't know. You're kind of catching me on the spot right now, but um, yeah, I would just say like really I do a lot of Costco shopping, I already mentioned, but it's like I feel like they do such a good job at bringing these like great new brands and so love that. I would also say I really am loving Purely Elizabeth, the granola.
Mhm.
Um, I'm loving like more so just like watching that brand and seeing them grow and just seeing how they do things as a business owner of a food company. And so I'd say that's another brand that I'm like kind of crushing on right now.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. What about favorite book that you've a favorite book? It's not a big top, but
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't get a lot of reading in, and I'm sure this is not going to even apply to very many of your listeners, but I'm currently reading a book right now on parenting with love and logic. So really just like the idea is like learning how to parent your kids with like just like love and respect versus an authoritarian like I'm telling you to do this now. And so for me, like it's really I know, like I said, many of your listeners probably aren't even moms, but maybe something to put in the back of your mind for when you do become parents, because it's like it's softening my heart to like really just like interacting with everyone. So anyway.
all right, last one, a favorite drink that you love recently.
Okay, my this is my afternoon drink, like and it has been for a while. So I have like a huge tumbler, and I do a whole can of poppy, like a equal, I think like a 8 to 16 ounces. I don't even know how much it ends up being. So equal parts, poppy and coconut water, and then
Mhm.
I fill a little bit extra with water, and I have like this huge big tumbler, and it's like basically a watered down poppy, but it has coconut water, so it's like more hydrating, and it's my favorite.
Love that.
Yep, yep.
Mhm.
So that's my afternoon drink.
Love that. Okay, well, thank you so much, Megan. This has been so fun to chat. And I will definitely link your socials and your website in the show notes and everything.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelly. I love what you're doing. You're doing such a good job.
Thanks. Let me stop the